big round of applause. See how you guys, now that's how you got to do. Coming in our head man dancer, head woman dancer, and royalty are going to be coming in first.
I call them my two worlds. One of my greatest challenges is to balance those two out and still not get involved too much with one and forget the other.
Rebecca Baker will tell you, life really is like a dance. At 20 years old, she's a fancy dancer from the Squamish and Kwagilth nations.
It's really fast-paced, lots of athleticism, and that's what I like.
While performing at powwows like this one, she's focused, flowing from move to move, always aware of her sense of balance.
Listen up, we'll have our invocation now.
Etel squalwa quel squatslala timia tilsqui talitzel quaskaukil. You just don't know how happy my heart is right now. I'd be dancing with these ladies standing right here.
Oh, there's no words to describe how proud you are as a parent when you see your child out there being acknowledged.
Inspiration is motivation, and motivation creates change.
The culture has trained her, in a sense, to become more aware of what her life is going to be.
My kids, they know who they are.
She believes that it has a lot of weight in her everyday life.
It's not just like a weekend thing.
I'm so proud that I don't have to worry about my kids.
It carries a lot of weight to tell somebody you're a role model.
I would say every day I'm faced with being classified into a certain category of the stereotypes.
I'm really grateful every day that they're not addicted to drugs, that they're not out there like a lot of our people are.
It shows that I can overcome what other people think, and I know that like Native people as a whole are strong enough.
It's an honor to see young people like her to embrace that and also show that connection that she does with the culture.
When talking with Rebecca Baker, you don't need her words.
Oh man.
Just her smile.
I just love powwows and the lifestyle. It's not
to see just how important it is to her where she's come from.
It's an expression of yourself and of your ancestors, and through which you can envision the future, and it takes so much determination and so much motivation, so much perseverance.
We lived it. I loved it so much, and I think that really influenced her in embracing her culture too.
She's been a powwow princess. Riding is now a way of life.
Once I got on the horse for the first time, the feeling that it brought, the spiritual connection between myself and the horse, and it was just so great and so empowering to me.
But health, happiness, and balance aren't that easy in today's world.
She started playing soccer when she was 7.
Me and Nadine would drive her to her soccer games, and we couldn't ever be late, or else she'd throw little tantrums. No.
She's always been very academic.
I want to be successful in school to achieve my degree, to get my master's, perhaps my PhD.
But the other piece was learning to balance both worlds.
Some people can do their beadwork in a couple months, but this stuff, it took me like over a year because I was trying to do school and prioritize my soccer.
So our bee would have to balance getting her homework done, getting her education, meeting deadlines.
The academic, the urban, the society that's out there, and then I come back and with my traditions, my culture. I'll go to school and I learn about all these rules and the laws and the systems, the government, and it gets you into this mind frame that it's only one way, that there's one way that we must live our lives, but then I always have to remember that there's my cultural side, the traditional ways, the traditional values that I carry within myself, and they always seem to clash with each other.
How she's going to change the world is to continue with both worlds, to hold education as a tool to live day to day in life, and also her culture to hold her up in a sense of to continue on this road.
I've always had the support that I've needed from my family and my friends, and that has got me really far in my life.
But it's even tougher when those helping you learn who you are also learning right alongside you.
Well, when I was young, I never grew up with my culture.
It's like you don't know what to say, you don't know how to act, you don't know what the protocol is.
Because my mom was adopted into a non-native family, and once she found her family, we started going to powwows, and that's where my cultural involvement started.
I was adopted when I was born, and I was raised by a white family who I loved dearly. So I was taken away from my culture and my language. I remember being 5 years old and knowing I was different. I didn't know why. I remember looking at my skin and wondering, why am I brown? Why do I look so different? Why is my hair black? And actually feeling ashamed. When you hear a lot of people talk about identity crises, that's exactly what I relate to. I had a really hard time in my teens. It wasn't until Rebecca was born, when she was 8 months old, 6 months, 8 months old, I went to my first ceremony down at the smokehouse in North Van. I was 20 when I went back and found who my mom and dad are. I phoned a lady at the band office who I'd gotten to know, and I said, Monica, I'm ready. I want to know who I am and where I come from. It was the next day that she phoned and said, yeah, we got your mom's number, and here it is. We phoned her, and she's waiting for your call whenever you're ready. So I think I sat with that for another day, because that was, what do you say? What do you know? And I phoned her, and we met, and at that time, Rebecca she would have been about a year old. My dad placed names on us, and that was the first thing he said, was that this is the spirit of our ancestors who brought her home. So you look at how I was with no culture, my daughter's having a little bit, and now my grandchildren having even more. I think it's awesome that I always think that it's the spirit of our ancestors. We refuse to lay down and die.
I believe that when I do work with the horses and work with my dancing, that others will see what I have, and to create something within themselves to empower themselves and create that balance, that health, that happiness. I hope that, it'll inspire somebody else to do what I've had the opportunity to do.
We got Rebecca Baker smiling. Come on.
If life really is a dance,
Here we go.
then at the end of the day, it's not every move you made or missed,
Oh, boy.
or what you had to overcome,
It's a drive. It just makes you find out who you are and where you're from.
just to make the stage, but what your performance means to the people watching.
To remind the younger generation, her peers, reminding the older ones also, there is a chance that we will be able to survive.
And for the performer herself.
Once you get so involved with your cultural ways, I find it hard to go back. I believe that true happiness comes from being healthy, living the life of the balance wheel, the spiritual, emotional, academics, and all that, those aspects of your life. It starts with you, and then by you changing, it will create others around you. It'll create change that is greater than yourself.